In the dim glow of his penthouse office, overlooking a city that never slept, Alexander Voss tore open the envelope with trembling hands. It was just a plain letter, smudged with childlike fingerprints, but the words inside shattered his carefully constructed world. Dear Mr. Voss, my name is Lily. I'm 8 years old, and Mommy says you're my daddy. She died last week, and now I'm all alone. Please come find me. The room spun as Alex stared at the faded photo tucked inside. A little girl with his eyes, clutching a worn teddy bear in what looked like a rundown orphanage. How could this be? He'd built an empire on steel nerves and solitude, but this? This was a storm of regret crashing down, pulling him into a vortex of compassion he never knew existed. Alexander Voss had always been a man of numbers and power. As CEO of Voss Tech, a sprawling tech conglomerate worth billions, his days were a blur of board meetings, mergers, and late-night strategy sessions. At 45, he lived in a world of glass towers and private jets, but his personal life was a void. Divorced twice, with no children, or so he thought. He'd buried his grief over lost loves and work, convincing himself that isolation was the price of success. Friends? Superficial. Family? Distant memories of a cold upbringing that taught him vulnerability was weakness. That rainy Tuesday evening, the letter arrived like a ghost from the past. It was forwarded from his old address, the one he'd shared briefly with Elena, a fleeting romance 9 years ago. They'd parted bitterly. She vanished without a word. Alex had assumed she'd moved on, just as he had. But Lily's words painted a different picture. Elena had struggled in silence, raising their daughter in poverty after a diagnosis of terminal illness left her unable to work. The orphanage in a forgotten corner of the city was Lily's new home, her only possession a photo of Alex from a magazine clipping Elena had saved. His first reaction was denial. A paternity test, he thought, slamming the letter down. But as he paced his empty apartment, the image of those wide, innocent eyes haunted him. Compassion, long dormant, stirred like a forgotten ember. What if it was true? He couldn't sleep that night, replaying his life. A series of conquests that left him hollow. By dawn, he made a decision, a small act, nothing more. He'd send money anonymously, enough for the orphanage to care for her properly. No strings, no involvement. It was kindness at arm's length, a tax-deductible gesture to ease his conscience. But fate had other plans. When he called the orphanage under a pseudonym, the director's voice cracked with desperation. We've got 50 kids here, sir, and funding's drying up. Your donation could save us. But Lily, she's special, quiet, withdrawn since her mom passed. Draws pictures of a tall man she says is her hero. Alex's throat tightened. He wired $50,000 that day, but it felt insufficient. Days turned to weeks, and he found himself checking in anonymously, learning fragments of Lily's life. Her love for drawing, her nightmares of abandonment, her quiet hope for a family. One afternoon, driven by an inexplicable pull, Alex visited the orphanage incognito. Disguised in casual clothes, he posed as a potential donor. The place was a crumbling building in a neighborhood ravaged by poverty. Peeling paint, leaky roofs, children with threadbare clothes playing in a barren yard. As he toured, a small voice called out, "Mister, do you like my picture?" There she was, Lily, clutching a crayon sketch of a man in a suit, standing beside a little girl under a rainbow. "It's my daddy," she said shyly. "Mommy said he'd come one day." Alex's heart fractured. He knelt, fighting tears. "It's beautiful," he whispered. In that moment, his small act ballooned into something profound. He revealed himself, not as a CEO, but as a man seeking redemption. The paternity test confirmed it. She was his. But taking her home wasn't simple. Legal hurdles loomed, custody battles, social workers probing his fitness as a parent. Alex, used to buying solutions, faced emotional walls. Lily was grieving, wary of this stranger. Their first meetings were awkward, her in foster care temporarily, him fumbling through storybooks and park visits. Struggles mounted. Alex's board questioned his sudden distractions. Whispers of scandal threatened his empire. At home, Lily's night terrors woke him, forcing him to confront his own abandonment issues from a father who left when he was young. Yet, hope flickered. One evening, as he tucked her in, she hugged him fiercely. "You're not leaving, right?" she asked. "Never," he promised. the word unlocking a floodgate of emotion. His act of generosity had ignited a connection, pulling him from isolation into fatherhood's raw embrace. But as he delved deeper, he uncovered Elena's journals, hidden in Lily's belongings, pages of her isolation, her refusal to burden him, her dying wish for Lily to know love. The discovery broke him anew, but it also planted seeds of transformation. Kindness, he realized, wasn't a transaction. It was a bridge over chasms of pain. With Lily now in his life, Alex's world inverted. The penthouse, once a sterile sanctuary, echoed with her laughter and her tears. She adapted slowly, her poverty-scarred habits clashing with his opulent lifestyle. Simple things overwhelmed her, a full fridge, her own room. But grief lingered like a shadow. Lily mourned Elena daily, drawing her mother's face obsessively. Alex, grappling with his own regrets, hired therapists, but healing demanded more. His presence, his vulnerability. Work suffered. Vostek's stock dipped as Alex delegated, attending school plays instead of investor calls. Colleagues saw weakness, rivals circled. Isolation returned in a new form. Friends distanced themselves from the sudden family man. Yet, in Lily's eyes, he found purpose. One act of compassion had snowballed. Now, he volunteered at the orphanage, funding renovations and scholarships. He met other children like Lily, abandoned, fighting poverty's grip. Their stories mirrored his buried pain, stirring empathy he never knew. But challenges peaked when Lily fell ill, a rare condition echoing Elena's. Doctors warned of costly treatments, experimental and uninsured. Alex poured millions into research, but bureaucracy stalled progress. In desperation, he reached out to Elena's old friends, uncovering a network of struggling families she'd helped despite her hardships. One woman, Maria, shared how Elena had anonymously paid her rent during eviction threats. She said kindness comes back, Maria recalled. Inspired, Alex launched a foundation in Elena's name, aiding single parents in poverty. As Lily recovered, their bond deepened. She taught him play, picnics in the park, where he'd once only jogged alone. He taught her resilience, sharing his grief over his absent father. We're both a little broken, he'd say, but together, we're whole. Hope bloomed in small victories. Lily's first, "I love you, Dad," scrawled in a card. Yet, the full circle arrived unexpectedly. One winter evening, a knock echoed at his door. It was a young executive from a rival firm, disheveled and desperate. "Mr. Voss, I need help." The man, Jake, confessed. He'd been laid off, his wife battling cancer, their child facing eviction. Jake had hacked Vostek's systems in a panic, seeking leverage, but guilt stopped him. "I read about your foundation. Please." Alex could have called security. Instead, compassion surged. He saw himself in Jake, driven to extremes by isolation and fear. Offering a job and aid through the foundation, Alex watched Jake rebuild. Months later, Jake's innovation saved Vostek from a cyber threat, repaying the kindness tenfold. Lily, witnessing this, beamed. "Mommy was right, Daddy. Kindness comes back." In that moment, Alex's transformation crystallized. From a letter's heartbreak, he discovered love's ripple. His small act saved Lily, her presence healed him, and their story inspired a chain of generosity. The orphanage thrived, families reunited. Alex stepped down as CEO, focusing on philanthropy, his empire now one of hearts. The journey wasn't linear, struggles with doubt, nights of tears, but hope prevailed. Lily grew confident, her drawings now vibrant family portraits. Alex, once isolated, found community and shared humanity. In the end, as Alex and Lily stood at Elena's grave, scattering flowers, he whispered, "Thank you for the gift of her." The wind carried a sense of peace, reminding us that empathy ignites chains of love, bridging divides and mending souls. In a world of isolation, one act of kindness can rewrite destinies, proving that humanity's greatest strength lies in our capacity to care, fiercely, unconditionally, forever. Moral of the story: true kindness, born from compassion, creates unbreakable circles of healing that transform not just the receiver, but the giver, echoing through lives in ways we can never fully predict.